I just want to introduce myself. I'm Dan Benson. I'm one of the founders of Fixfox, and I'm just going to be walking you through some of our products today. So this webinar is called "Stop Losing Jobs with Fixfox." Basically, our mission is pretty simple. We're just here to help Ace Hardware franchisees succeed using AI-powered tools. I'm sure you've heard a lot of AI on the news lately, and what we're trying to do is really capitalize on those tools for Ace Handyman. So just to give you a little bit of history, we actually started building with a Fixfox app. Our app is launched in the Pacific Northwest, and essentially what it does is it uses AI to connect homeowners with contractors. And so the way it works is a homeowner goes on our app, and they use AI to describe what they need done to their house. It has them take very specific pictures, and then it sends it out to a group of our contractors that can ultimately fulfill the job. And if one of them wants it, they can, look at the pictures, submit an estimate, and then it connects the homeowner and contractor so that all of the work happens on this platform. What happened was, once we launched that, we got connected to Andy Bell, the CEO of Ace Handyman, and he was very interested in capitalizing on AI tools essentially, and seeing what the future could hold ultimately for his franchisees. And so we started down the road of the app, and then he said to us, like, is there a way that you could build tools that really solve the pain points of my specific franchisees, because it's a little bit different model than your average handyman. There's so many 400 locations, 400 territories anyway, and they each have they have a collective kind of pain point group that I want to try to solve. And so we were introduced to Paul Hammer and a few of the other franchisees, and we went down this kind of this discovery of essentially what are the major pain points that we could potentially use AI to solve. And that's how we've gotten to 4 different products. We'll be talking about one specifically today, but I'll just kind of quickly introduce the rest of them. So all of these AI products were custom built for Ace Handyman. The first one is Ava, the Ace voice agent. And essentially, this is a calling agent that handles all the missed calls. The Ace Outbound caller, which is designed to call for warranties, to check on service, to see if there's any new jobs throughout the year, so that you can actually get potential new jobs from existing clients. The Ace Call Coach is a AI product that teaches and basically shows CSRs what to say during a call. So it's not a system that reviews the call afterwards and gives recommendations on what to do next. It actually shows real time on the screen, exactly what the CSR is supposed to say next. And the last product is the Instant Estimator. So this is designed to rapidly create estimates whenever you go out for service estimation. So we're going to mainly be talking about Ava today, which is the Ace voice agent. And right now we've got about 32 Ace offices on this, and I'm hoping that after this call we'll have a few more. But what I wanted to dive into today is what Ava is designed to do and what it can do for your office. So the main pain point that it solves is when customers don't talk to someone on the first call, they just dial up another handyman down the list. Andy was saying that that it's an inevitable problem where CSRs can't always pick up, and the offices aren't always open. So is there a way basically that we can solve this problem where we can answer 100% of the calls and let the CSRs book at least 50%? And that's ultimately how we came up with this product called Ava. So essentially, what it is it's a 24/7 AI receptionist that's created specifically for Ace Handyman, using the Ace Handyman blueprint. It answers every missed call. It has a natural conversation with the homeowner to try to understand all of their needs. It captures new jobs as bookings or voicemails with detailed information. And for other things that are not a new job, it takes a voicemail. So ultimately, what this product is designed to do, it's not to replace the CSR necessarily, but it's to capture the missed call so that whenever someone calls in, they're talking to someone, they're explaining their needs, and they feel like their needs are being heard and that someone will contact them back. And what this does is it prevents people from calling another handyman before the office CSR can actually get back to them and finally book the job. What's nice about this is that it creates a pretty detailed report so that the CSR is really armed with a lot of information as they go into this callback. So some of the key benefits, again, it's 24/7 coverage. It's on all the time, holidays, nights, and weekends, and so it'll always pick up every single call. And it's very customized to your office. And so, um, you know, an example that I love to give is one of the franchisees is also a physical therapist, and so she runs a physical therapy office and asked, can the agent identify people that might need a aging in place care? And so, if someone is on the phone and they're saying, "Yeah, I need a grab bar installed, I need a walk-in tub installed," it'll understand that, okay, they probably have these needs as an elderly. And so to ask specifically if they need a consultation by a licensed physical therapist on the call as well. So we tailor the agent specifically to your office, however you like to work with your demographic. Um, it's really a complete job intake. And so what's great about this agent is that it has a massive knowledge base of all things contractor, handyman, all of that. And so it knows exactly what to ask the homeowner, and it meets the homeowner at their level. And so if the homeowner says, "Oh, I want a front door replaced," it'll ask specific questions like, "Hey, is it just the door slab? Do you need the frame replaced? Is it a pre-hung door? Do you have the door ready? Do you want us to paint it?" um, Basic questions like that. But it can also get very advanced. And so if someone calls in and says, I need a electrical panel replaced, it has to be I'm upgrading it to a 300 amp. It's got 24 slots, but I need 30. Can you install peanut breakers? It actually knows specifically what to ask. That many CSRs might not know. It's a very easy addition to your existing workflow. So we don't try to push you into another VoIP system or anything like that. Ultimately, we work with your VoIP system and you simply forward the call to us whenever you can't pick it up. So we also have a new online dashboard, which really helps to keep things organized. I'll show you that in a little bit. But it's a great online system to kind of see, which calls do you need to follow up with, um, what's happened ultimately with your calls, and it's a great place to view that. The backup emails are also sent as a backup, just in case you can't get to the dashboard or something like that. You also have it in your email box, which is great. I will say that we've created some special pricing just for Ace Handyman. And I'm pretty confident that we are beating all of the competing AI products out there. So if you're looking at some of the other offerings, I'm pretty sure we are a lower cost, which is great. And we also have ServiceTitan reintegration. And so initially when we started building this, we had the ability to put jobs directly into ServiceTitan. Ace Hardware IT has some new requirements. And so, we're working on getting reintegrated with ServiceTitan. But until then, We have an online dashboard, we have a lot of the backup emails, and so a lot of the offices are working fine with that. So this is an example of what essentially you would get from a service call. And so when someone calls in, it works for them to get all of this information: their name, their address, phone number, email. It asks them if they are a new customer or not, and if they are a new customer, how did you hear about us? Once it takes all the job details, it estimates the hours. Um, it also asks for the best appointment times for the day, and it'll also estimate the personality type based on the four ACE personality types. So at the very end, it asks, a quick survey like, "Hey, how did I do as an AI agent?" I would say we are often getting fours and fives, out of five, which is great. So you'll also see that. When it comes to job details, it really breaks down everything nicely. And so it gives the title, the expertise that's necessary, the location, and also just a little bit about the job itself. We can adjust the amount of detail that's gathered based on how you like to work. And so I would say, um, the average office wants, between 2 to 3 questions from the customer, not too much more. But if you want 7, we can grab a lot of detail. So totally up to you. This is the dashboard. And so it lets you easily see which calls are coming in. It easily allows it to move into Service Titan and back and forth. And it also outlines everything pretty easily for your CSR. So anyone in your group can log into this and kind of see what has been done. You can change the status as well to log which calls need to be followed up on, or things like that. Pricing is pretty simple. Nothing too complicated. We charge based on usage on a tier level, and so it's a simply monthly subscription. We're not doing any kind of contracts or anything like that. So we just want you to be happy with the service. And so, tier 1 is $199 a month, and it includes 250 minutes. And then it steps up from there exponentially. So, $299 for 500 minutes, $399 for 1,000 minutes. I will say most offices stick within tier 1. They don't need too much more unless we're handling a huge volume of calls. But we generally don't charge an overage, and so your service is never disabled. It would be terrible to cut this off. And so essentially what we do is, if you go over your minutes a little bit per month, to be honest, it doesn't bother us too much. Like if you're at tier 1 and you're at 280 minutes or something for the month, that's fine. But if we notice that you kind of typically go into the 400 minutes arena, then the following month we'll ask you, "Hey, let's step up to tier 2 for this month," and then evaluate. So just kind of quickly how to get started. We have a web form at fixfox.ai, #Ava trial. And I'll send this out to everyone as well. But it's a pretty easy way to get started. First is you go to the site. We have an intake form that helps us create the agent for you. As I said, we design the agent specifically for your office. And so within that form, you can tell us how you want it customized. We take down what zip codes are available to you, and all of that information, where you want backup emails sent, that kind of thing. So once we have that form, essentially it takes us about a day to create your customized agent, and then we'll provide you with a dedicated phone number. So we ask you to call into that phone number and test it essentially as a customer. Make sure that the agent is asking the questions you want it to. It's following the call path that you want, and we make any adjustments that you want during that refinement period. Once you're happy with the agent, we simply update your VoIP call tree. So if it's with certain providers like Clarity or Call Harbor, typically we get on the phone with you and their customer rep, and have them do the changes. We have each at many companies we have someone that we generally work with, and they know this process for Ace Handyman. If it's another system that's more accessible, like Go to Connect, where you can actually create your own call tree. It's easier for us to just sit on a call with you and kind of tell you like, okay, restructure your call tree this way. But generally, it takes about an hour at most to get your VoIP rerouted so that missed calls go to us. So it's a pretty quick process. We have a demo line that you can try things out at. So if you simply call this number, 206 207 7654, it's it's a generic mock agent, so not specific to any office, but it'll give you an idea of what the customer hears, the questions that will be asked, the call path, all of that. Yeah, I would recommend giving it a call. And for everyone attending today's webinar, we're offering a 15-day free trial, which is great. You can try it out in your office completely risk-free. Hopefully you keep it, but if you don't, it's really easy to change it back to a voicemail or something like that. So I want to introduce Paul Hammer right now. I mentioned a little bit before that he's one of the franchisees that Andy introduced in the very beginning, and he's been absolutely integral in helping us, guide us on the path to creating this product as well as helping us test it. And so he's been using it as one of the longest uh, in the chain. And so, yeah, I'll turn it over to him, and he can give a little bit of his experience with this.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, hey guys. Yeah. I think we started. I mean, I was just thinking through when you were talking. I mean, I remember I had my mother-in-law and my daughter, and I think my dad call the first test agent that we did, and um, yeah, I've been working with Dan since the beginning of the year, really. I think I was looking back. It was May or June we went live, actually with customers testing it. So yeah, it's been a long journey. We've done a lot of tweaking, like to the point of like, I don't know, like 0.8 seconds worth of, I mean, so the amount of questions it asks and all of that, like we've gone up and down, and we had some customers not not appreciate like too many questions, and then we went too little questions. So we put a lot of work in dialing it in. And bringing in our customer type, the personality types. We did add the rating. So our agent Grace asked them to rate her on a 5 scale. And yeah, you see there like the 4.73. So that's probably the biggest question you guys have is like, does it work? Am I going to piss off a bunch of customers really? Yeah. So generally we don't. I mean, I think we got a 1 or a 2 today, and you could just tell, like in the comments, I know exactly the customer. He just frustrated, wants to talk to somebody, and you get that every once in a while. Most of the time, we can book them once our CSRs call. They're able to turn that into a positive conversation. Um, pretty easy. I joke about the AI and whatever, and how it's taking over the world, and just make light of it. But they can, a lot of times there's such good information. I think some people don't understand the amount of information we get from that short phone call, and then us as operators, like you know, uh, probably 100 words is worth 1,000, maybe. Um, once I look at them, I can pretty much tell. And we just got one a little bit ago, and um, yeah, so you guys get that right. But one thing. So we did bring this through the Service Titan Committee, which I'm on the committee, and we did test it out. So just to be clear on my end, like today, I'm just a franchisee calling. This isn't part of the committee. Um, there are some different solutions out there. So I want to be clear on that as far as the franchise working on different things. This is a vendor that's been vetted and gone through. At this point, I'm sticking with Dan. The like you said, the being able to from my point of view, one, the cost is very good. We appreciate that, Dan. Um, yeah, the cost is good for what we get out of it. But being able to change things. So like one example, my office managers came in, it was, I don't know, maybe a month ago now, and they're like, we would really love to know on some of the exterior stuff um if it's second story work. So Dan and I mean, I sent Dan things, said, hey, this is what they want. Um, Within 2 hours, I think he said, well, hey, give the tester a call. And, I said, yeah, I want to install some shutters. And it asked me, is this all, second, first story? And I said, no, it's both. And I said, I wanted to fix a deck board, and it didn't ask anything about second story. So, I mean, it's really, it works out well. But that's one of the biggest benefits I see with working with Dan is the being able to customize it. Um, and because we all run different, I know working with different franchisees and things. My years doing this for 11 years. We all have our own little things that we like, some tweaks. So of all the other products, I haven't seen where you can fully customize it like that. But yeah, I wouldn't want, it's a product I wouldn't want to give up right now. It, I mean, we get a lot. You see how many we've gotten. Um, and so I don't know if we do questions. I want to mention about like the other work we're doing.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. So maybe we can take a pause right now to answer any questions about Ava, and then we'll go through each of the other three things that are being built out right now. So I'll open it up to anyone. Does anyone have questions for us that we can answer about Ava, the voice agent?
Yeah, this is Jason from Atlanta. I got a couple questions.
Yeah, hi, Jay.
Um, hey, thanks for hosting us and doing this and everything, because there's a lot of us that are trying to sort through this and figure it out, and of
Yeah,
course, nothing's easy, and there's a lot of options, and it seems like everybody's trying to make it work, and it's not that easy. I mean, I get it. So, I
yeah,
think everybody's just trying to figure out who's got the best thing going now, because it's always going to keep evolving.
yeah.
And and I've tried out one other thing and wasn't impressed. But my big concern or question is,
Yeah.
like, what is Ace telling you as far as getting to where you would be authorized to put the data right in to Service Titan? And then
Mhm.
Paul, you might know this a little bit better. Like, for right now, like, how are people doing that? Are they just cutting and pasting and putting it in Service Titan, or how are they putting the info in Service Titan?
So I guess I'll start. Again, we previously had Service Titan integration, and so all the components are built for it. We simply need to be upgraded to a preferred vendor status, and that's what we're kind of working on right now. And so they have some requirements, and we're trying to fulfill them ultimately. So the mechanism is there to send jobs in. It's just for some customers, it won't be active for just a little bit. But for most part, people are simply just cutting and pasting in directly. And the dashboard that we recently created addresses that need that people had before with Service Titan. And so everything that you can easily cut and paste from the dashboard um, ultimately aligns to the way that you would put something into Service Titan. So it makes it much easier.
yeah, I mean, originally it was done for the testing, right? Through the committee. Um, so and then like I was saying, I mean, I know Gerson, they're looking at some other products, and so yeah, the preferred vendors, yeah, there's a whole thing there, right? I would. It is a little bit of a bummer, but I mean, if you get 3 of these a day or something, and you've got I mean, I've got the email right here. Like, you got to take a little bit to enter the customer, like one search and make sure they're not a customer already, and then just enter you have all their information, their email, and all that stuff. You would never get that in a voicemail. I mean, people just leave their phone number, and so at least you're getting an email, a voicemail, and their address. So entering all that, and then the actual scope of work, all the information, that's a quick copy and paste right into the job notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, on 3 jobs or 5 jobs, I mean, a day, hopefully something like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bummer it can't be done at the moment, but I know the more people that sign up, the bigger voice we got. We can always ask,
Yeah.
hey, make this happen. So,
And like, just out of curiosity, like, how long is a session? Like how long would an agent collect all that info, you think? Because that's one of the things that I was
Mhm.
not impressed by, is that like the way, the way the agent would interact, it was just painful, and it would
Mm.
take too long.
Well, responses are really fast. I would say it's like talking to a real person. And so there is no time gap, I would say, between, one response to another, in general. Typically, I would say calls, like if someone is asking for a single, job, it's the call lasts about 2.5 minutes, something like that, 2.5 to 3 minutes.
Hmm.
If they have a laundry list of things, obviously it can go on for 7 or something. But I would say in general, it's pretty tuned in to the blueprint, and so um, you know we like to capture as much as we can quickly in a short amount of questions, and then have the CSR potentially then fill in the gaps if necessary.
Uh-huh.
But Paul, I would say most of it is pretty well captured in the first call, and there just needs to be a few clarifying details from the CSR once they call back. So
You mentioned that it tries to follow the blueprint pretty closely. Is the AI agent like telling these folks a lot about Ace, or not so much?
not a whole lot. So it doesn't if it doesn't say what the total estimate is going to be. It doesn't say pricing, anything like that. And
No,
so
I just meant, like, is it saying something like, yeah, we're part of the Ace Hardware family. All of our craftsmen are W-2 employees. I mean, just stuff like that, just like the
it
general
doesn't go
spiel.
through. It doesn't go through that script, but I mean, it does. It's more. I don't. What does it say at the end? Like, I mean, thank you for choosing Ace Handyman Services, stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, that is a bit more simple, but I mean, the blueprint, we originally took the blueprint on getting that customer information, going through jobs and stuff. So it's not the full blueprint.
Yeah,
Um,
I was
but
just
it wasn't.
curious.
Yeah, it was inspired by that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, we've played. I mean, in that testing we did for months, it was like the calls were too long and people were not happy, and the
yeah,
calls are
it's a
too short.
double-edged sword.
So I mean, right now, I rarely ever get any issues. I don't hear. I mean, I can't listen to the calls. Like, I don't recommend as a franchise owner listening to the calls. I mean, that's exactly what they tell us not to do. Like, the franchise always tells us to listen to your calls, but I can't listen to them. But I mean, as long as I'm getting 4.7 stars and the office managers are booking the jobs, like, that's a success for me. Like,
Yeah,
so I've been able to, it's just runs in my business. I don't even think about it nowadays. I mean, we've been running it since June, 600 and some jobs. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's been huge for us.
Nice. And Jason, we can also customize it in any way that you want. And so some people have generally elderly in their customer base, and so they like long descriptions, and they like it talking slower, and
Uh-huh.
they want this big value prop paragraph, and we can
Yeah.
put all of that in. If that's the kind of clientele that you have in your area, we can customize it to that. We can also cut out things, and so there's the franchisee. He's like, I don't even want to take that information. Like, we got the phone number from the caller ID. Let's just grab the job details and then end the call. I want it to be like a 1-minute call. So we're able to restructure it so that we can cut out all the extra value props and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So,
I think one of the things we for customer happiness was when you set up and Dan has this, I think, in the onboarding stuff, but
I'll be right back.
yeah. Yeah, I'll continue, but the for the others, we had like press 1 for new jobs, press 2 for existing jobs, and we found most people just push 1. And maybe it comes. Yeah, so Jason, the one thing I was saying is like when we first started, we had press 1 for new jobs, press 2 for existing or anything else, and we found that like people are just lazy and frustrated, so they just push 1 all the time.
Uh-huh.
And then people were like yelling at Grace and like getting all nasty with her and stuff, and so some of those are kind of funny actually, but the we found that if you put like for existing jobs and anything else press 1, for new jobs press 2, like first that just fixed it. It was amazing. So just a little thing like that. So what it is like the existing jobs and everything, we go straight to voicemail. And we have a few customers that for some reason they always get to Grace and then they like tell us how much they hate it. And so I keep telling my office manager, like, just tell them to press 2, like 1. Like just don't ever do a new job. Call us. You'll always leave us a message. It's fine. Like, but and she does revert to a voicemail. So like, um, if she recognizes that it's not really a new job and it's not in that work in that flow,
Uh-huh.
then you get I get an email and it just has a voicemail. Like those customer call enters are information. This is what their thoughts were. And I think Dan, you and I were just going over in the last week about changing that up a little bit, like just
yeah,
a little bit of the wording.
Mhm.
I forget what we came up with, but like because I think some people they just don't think that it's going to translate it correctly. Like some people are just oblivious to what AI does now.
Uh-huh.
But like it's really accurate, and so I think she just says like, well, I can take a voicemail or something. Like did a subtle change, so hopefully that helps a little bit on some things, and we've been looking at some escalating like, but even at that, I think a voicemail is okay. Um, I'm trying to get Dan. I've been pushing to get it so it like a fast fare now customer or whatever. Like I'm a fast fare now, just talk like click and where it would change. That's my dream where you have like an elderly person, it would slow down. It would be
It
programmed
would
to,
kind of adjust to what it sensed the customer was like, kind of thing.
yeah, that'd be cool. But I guess there's not enough, like, but Dan tells me there's not enough information like in the first 90 seconds for it to make that quick of a, if it was a 20-minute conversation, it could probably change in 4 minutes or something, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it can read the customer voice pattern and kind of understands their personality type pretty quickly. But I would say it needs about a good minute of conversation to be like, okay, this is a perfectionist. I need to talk more about the details or something like that. So it's something we're obviously working on. But yeah, that is dream AI right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Any other questions from Jason or anyone else?
Yeah, this is Chris from Chicago. Just a quick question. Yeah, thanks Dan for doing this, and Paul. Um, How good is it at estimating? Is it comparable to other AIs like Paul that you've used for estimating, or is it still learning, or how would you rate it in terms of estimating jobs?
And for me, I think single jobs, and I think this is with all AI. I mean, even like chat and stuff, like installing a storm door. I mean, I think it probably comes up with like 2 to 3 hours or something. Um, so like single jobs, it's fine. When you get into some of the more complex handyman kind of stuff that we do, um, it gets to be a little less accurate. Um, I think it always throws in a time on it. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if we use it so much for the hours at this point. Um, sorry, Dan. I know the Fixfox original thing is more about hours, and single jobs. I think it's great, but the more complex stuff, you get into two, three, four things on there. Um, I would be just make sure your office managers know to like look at it with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
But I think if you put the same thing in chat, it's not. It
yeah.
stills off a little bit.
And then one more thing, Dan, does it announce that it's an AI agent up front, or
It
do
does.
people? Okay,
Yeah, it does, absolutely. And that's one of the things that we actually discovered in quite a lot of testing is that people don't like being fooled that it's AI. And so, of all the voices that we could have chosen, we chose one that's like really happy and bubbly for Ace. But it's clear that it is still kind of an AI. It's not trying to fool you in any way. And at the very beginning of the call, it actually says like, "Hey, I'm an AI agent. I'm here just to help expedite the process, but we have office staff available that will contact you back." So it helps assure people like, okay, this is an AI agent. There's some people that, have a backlash against AI, but that this agent is only here to take down job details, and then you will talk to a human afterwards. And once we put that step in there, everyone seems to be okay with it.
okay,
So, we initially we had, scores all across the board. And once we kind of implemented that step of announcing that it is an AI, then most of the scores come back 4 to 5. There's some workflows that even have, like what Paul does is before he transfers to us, he actually has a recorded message of himself, talking about, hey, this is an AI agent. It's only here um, to take your job details, and then we'll contact you back. And I think just hearing that assurance lets people know, okay, this is an AI agent. It's they're not getting rid of people, and someone will contact
I
me. And I think people like that.
Yeah, mine. I specifically I did like I did my third version, and that one seemed to stick. But I specifically said I'm Paul, the owner of Ace Handyman here in Columbus, Ohio. We have full-time people locally here to take your call. They just are busy at the moment. They're either unavailable or busy at the moment. This is here just to help expedite your experience. Here she is, and that seemed to work.
okay, thanks.
Great. Any other questions before we move on to the other products? All right. Well, let's jump into that then. So right now, most of the other products are in beta phase, and so we're looking for testers. So if you're interested, please let us know. There is no cost for beta testing. So you can sign up, and I'll show this again later. It's a little long-winded, but it's Ace Handyman fixfoxai.lovable.app. And I'll send this out to everyone as well. So um, the first product we'll kind of quickly talk through because we don't have too much more time left, is the Ace Outbound caller. And essentially, the pain point that this solves is customer contact. As Andy mentioned to me, like it's tricky for CSRs to constantly, reach out throughout the year and kind of make sure like everyone's satisfied with the work before the warranty ends. And so essentially that's what this does is it follows up with people throughout the year to check on the satisfaction of jobs. And essentially the goal is to uncover new work. And so it'll reach out, at 11 months and basically say, hey, John, that toilet you had installed, just want to make sure it's still okay. Great. I'm glad to hear it's working out for you. Do you have any other jobs that we can take care of right now? So it saves a ton of time on routine callbacks. Protects your reputation just to make sure everything is good. If a recall needs to happen, um, then it also puts it in the system, and it just keeps your office top of mind. So when customers need additional work, they can say, hey, this company seems to care about this past work. I want to go with them again. We've been beta testing this with Paul over the last about a month now. And of the 140 calls that were made, we actually pulled out 8 new jobs, and we did find one recall that needed to happen. And so, from this batch, we generated basically $3,500 worth of work with just a $200 subscription. So it seems to be working out, which is great. So we're pushing forward with the beta and opening it up to a couple more people. So does anyone have any questions on this one before we move on?
Yeah, I got a question about that.
Yeah.
So how is it determining what the job entailed 11 months ago? Like, is it going into Service Titan and looking at the job and getting the information that way, or how's it working?
So at the moment, you export a report, and then our system translates it through AI and kind of distills it down. So you export a report from Service Titan of jobs that were done 11 months ago. You provide that report to us, and we run it through AI, and it distills it down to, gate and key replacement or something like that, like something very short. But it takes the whole massive job description and it kind of distills it down. So that's what it does. Yeah.
And has that been pretty accurate, would you say, Paul?
Yeah, I think we went through a little fire drill a week or two ago, and we were getting a lot of recall stuff, and I'm like, oh crap, I wonder if it's this. And so I told Dan, I'm like, stop, like, and then that's when I ran the numbers. And a lot of our recall stuff, unfortunately, is just our current team, like making recalls. The but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's just been running in the background and things have been happening. I've seen it, like, from my point of view. Like, I'm not far in the weeds every day on every job. So I've seen it like working in the background. But yeah, I was really, so once I did the numbers, I told Dan, I said, turn it back on. I'm kind of excited this winter about this one because what Dan's doing is like it's not like 140 calls are made all at once for a month. They're made like they're a drip campaign. The same thing like if you create like a drip campaign out of emails. So yeah, I mean I've been excited about this one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any questions? All right. We'll move on to the next. So the next one is called the Ace Call Coach. Essentially, it's an on-screen trainer for CSRs real time. And so, Andy said to us, is there a way to speed up training a new CSR? Because typically, a decent CSR takes about 6 months to train up. And even then, sometimes they don't quite understand, the full facet of all the handyman services. I mean, it's a huge thing that all the techs do. And so even asking the right questions, it's pretty hard. And so essentially what this is designed to do is it listens to the customer call in real time, and it actually brings up on the screen what the CSR is supposed to say next. And so as the call is happening. And so it's not one of those like, you go through the call and you get a report afterwards that says, hey, you can do this better. It essentially tells the CSR specifically what to say as the call is happening. And so even, full-time, experienced CSRs can use it as like a co-pilot to ask specific questions. And so, if someone chimes in with a really complex job that they don't know what to ask um, for the tech, it'll actually come up with those questions specifically to say, hey, we're going to need to install peanut breakers in your breaker box because we don't have enough um, um, breakers right now, kind of thing. And so it's very intelligent on the questions that it asks. It also estimates the time. It estimates the cost, and so all of that can just be read ultimately by the CSR. So here's kind of an example. Again, rough beta screen right now, but this is what it looks like where it pops up on the screen exactly what the CSR is supposed to say at the time. It creates a full transcript, which you can use later if you want, and then it creates a summary that's easily moved into Service Titan or any other scheduling software. So, and it's a lot of the same details that you would get with Ava, except it goes more in depth to the job type, if it's going to be an 8-hour, 2-hour. It prompts them on the scheduling side so that the CSR can really focus on just talking and not writing down notes as they're doing things, because everything gets captured here. So that's essentially what it does. Any questions from anyone?
So that's just going on a separate screen than the
Yeah,
other
exactly.
Service Titan screen.
Yeah. So it's always just listening to the customer call in the background. So
And how is that listening? Is it tied into is that through the internet or is that through the speaker on the computer?
So it listens to what's happening in the computer itself. So typically, like if you have a VoIP, web interface or something like that for your calls, it will just listen to what's happening on the computer and then identify like, okay, this is what's going on in the call. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Any other questions from anyone? All right, well, we'll move on to the last one. I'm excited about this one. So it's we call it Instant Estimator. Essentially, what it's designed to do is cut down the time that it takes a tech to create an estimate. So typically, a tech will go into to an estimation appointment. They're going in with a clipboard or a piece of paper or something, jotting notes on their phone as they go. Sometimes, everything isn't captured. They leave the appointment, they get in their truck, they go back to the office, they kind of write out the notes. It could be the same day or days later. And typically someone has to translate that into a workable estimate and then send it out to the customer. So there's a long gap between from when the tech left the house to when they actually get an estimate. What this is designed to do is create an estimate within minutes of the tech walking out the door. And so we do this by an app on the phone. It essentially records the entire conversation that happens while the tech is there. So all their interactions, any measurements that the tech says, all of that basically gets captured as audio. And then as soon as they walk out the door, they hit stop on the app, and it creates a really comprehensive estimate that they can go through on their phone, essentially in the car even. And so it'll break down all the tasks by job. It'll estimate the hours, and basically ask the tech, is this correct? Do you want to modify anything? And then it'll go through and actually estimate out all the materials. So it'll capture anything that he said during the estimation appointment, as well as recommend anything that it thinks might be needed, essentially, during that job. And it'll also get them to verify, okay, is this correct? Do you need more of this specific thing? We estimate the cost to be this, but you correct us. So the tech can do that in the car, literally in just a couple of minutes after leaving the appointment, and then that gets sent to the office for a final review. Once the office gets it, they can kind of go through and then submit the quote to the customer. So, within less than an hour, the customer has the estimate and doesn't try to call someone else. That's the goal. So, yeah, any questions on that?
This is Rich. This is Richard. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how is this interfacing with Service Titan? Is this inside Titan, or is this done separately as an add-on?
At the moment, it's separate. So it's a separate web interface. When the call gets translated, it does go to eventually it will, again, it's an alpha product, go to a dashboard where the office staff can kind of clearly see what needs to be entered into Service Titan, and it's broken out in a way that's really easy to copy and paste in. So the goal is eventually to put it directly into Service Titan estimates. But right now, the fallback is to have a web interface that you can easily kind of copy and paste from. So.
I'm excited about this because I'm actually, like, for the last couple of months, I've been recording every in-home consultation I've done, and I run it through chat. And I've been trying to get my guys to do it, and I'm running into software problems where guys have all their different phones. So I think this would be awesome to have just an app that they can open the app, push a button, all the stuff starts happening. One of the cool things I've learned in ChatGPT is, like, you can ask clarifying questions. Like, you give it like an SOP that you've written, and then it asks you 20 questions and you answer them, and then it makes it so much stronger. So I envision that on this as well, where it'll say, like, hey, like, what was the metal finish on that faucet? The guy didn't, he just said replace faucet, and it should be chrome or brushed nickel or so. And whether it's our guys are doing the same day service too, so they could go back out in their truck and they can probably copy and paste a smaller version right into Service Titan, right? I don't know. I don't see it going into Service Titan soon. I don't think so. I mean, Service Titan's working on some stuff, but not this. But this could be really cool. And I'm thinking, like, where you put in disclaimers and things as well. Like, so your guys are, working on certain things and you have kind of standard disclaimers. The AI will know it, like they have a scope of work and it'll automatically put in a disclaimer that you can't match paint, or like a ceiling texture, you won't be able to match it. There's no way. And, like, we have a big disclaimer we always add, and sometimes our guys forget. And that always becomes a challenging conversation with the customer. So awesome opportunity here, but yeah, I'm full doing this now. I just can't get my guys to do it with technology.
I'm having the same kind of problems implementing just ChatGPT. There's just a lot of pushback because it's not something they're used to doing. I have a follow-on question.
Yeah.
I missed some of this call because I had some technology problems being in the field. So how are you pricing these different products? Is it a package deal? How are you getting that? Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ava's the only one with a solid price right now, I would say. Most of these can be add-ons, and so right now, because they're in beta phase, we're not charging anything for them. We just want usage and try to make the product better. Eventually, though, once we do start charging for the other three that we just talked about, it'll be a lower price. Obviously, if you integrate more into a package, or, for example, Instant Estimator, like it's not a similar product to Ava where it's based on usage, really. So it could be a single use price kind of thing. So that we haven't determined yet, to be honest. But the goal is obviously building all of these products is it's solving the major pain points as I understand them in the franchise. And so the hope is that most people will use, two or more products. And if that's the case, then the price is lower.
Do you have anybody that's using the Instant Estimator just yet?
Not yet. It is an alpha product, so it's very rough. It's a very, very
Well,
early stage.
sign me up. I would like to test it out because
Okay.
I'm in Pensacola and we seem to, we've opened up on sites and we're getting larger, remodeling and things like that. And it's a nightmare trying to, 48 hours is our turnaround. And yesterday, I just talked to Josh about like, I saw some of your competitors out there, Handoff AI and a couple of, like, man, we gotta get on something because losing, you pay to get these leads and then you charge them $75 on-site consultation and then they get upset because they get it a day later, or whatever. And so it's a nightmare right now. And I feel like speed of service, getting the estimates out will book higher, our conversion should be higher because we're getting, people their estimates much faster.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And we totally agree. It's all about getting things to the customer before they try to go to someone else. So I appreciate that. Okay, well, we're right at time. I appreciate everyone coming to this webinar. There's so if you want to sign up for Ava, it's at fixfox.ai #Ava trial, and this is a much longer one. Ace Handyman Fixfox AI.lovable.app. This is where you can sign up to become a beta tester for these other 3 products. I will send this out as well to everyone that's been on this webinar, so you'll get that in the email as well. Are there any last questions? Anything anyone wants to mention before we wrap up?
I'll say we're all used to all our emails are at acehandymanservices.com. We're used to long URLs, whatever they are.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining. Here's my contact information. This is a direct line to me, so contact me anytime.